I'd like to read the story of Victor's Holocaust survival. He was born in 1921 in Marvin, Poland. Father Nahum, mother Chana were also born in Marvin, Poland. Nahum had a shoe factory, but he made a living and taught Victor as he grew up. Victor had two brothers and a sister, Aaron, Chaim, and Israel. As a small child, he remembers his parents, grandparents, and family life being a good one. The religious atmosphere was also pleasant. His family was not Orthodox, but went to synagogue every Sabbath. Mom and Grandma cooked dinner for Passover, Victor's favorite holiday. The family, his mom's sister and brother, and their three children were there to celebrate. While growing up in an area of mostly Jewish people, he went to school with non-Jews and played soccer and ping pong, his favorite sport with everyone. His school started at 7 years old in a public school, and he still remembers his Polish history as a math teacher, Mrs. Goldstein. The name of the school, excuse me, I don't say it right, was Yakishova. Yosovitsa. Thank you. Named after a famous statesman, Jewish statesman. Rome was a good-sized city, and the population was over 100,000 people. There were movie stores and a food market on Thursday. They also had a grocery and clothing stores, and of course his father's shoe factory. There were about 35,000 people, Jewish people, who mostly had social activities amongst themselves. His family lived in a 3-floor apartment house. Victor shared a 2-room flat with 7 others in the family. Victor had a bar mitzvah and Saturday evening dinner at home with close friends and family. After school, he did his homework, took likewise, went to the movies, and after his bar mitzvah, he went to learn the shoe business. By 1937, he was 16 years old, and the Jews in town was Pasha, a town only 10 miles away. There were news of some college students killing Jews in the park. They actually had a trial and convicted some of them. Does not know what happened to them. At this time, he was not hurt, and outsiders were the only ones to cause trouble by beating older Jews. In 1939, there was more news about Germany because families came to Poland and told what was happening. His parents did not believe it could happen here, as we were all friends in this town and not political at all. Some of our friends got papers and went to America. September of 1939, Germans came into town, into Poland, with motorbikes and gathered Jewish people to walk on the streets before them to make sure there were no mines on the road. Some were shot on the street without reason. Some of the younger families went to the Russian border, but Victor's family, again, did not believe it could happen here in Marvin. In the morning, the Germans came into town and took people to work in the factories. They made clothes, uniforms, and boots for them. The order came through the synagogue. 200 strong Jews were to go to Cheskov, a town near Russia. After a while, I was sent also, and although there was about 1,000 Jews guarded by German and Polish police, from there we were sent to Lubin and then home to Rome, where I was with my mother and father. I had this job in a German factory in Rome. I had papers with my brother. My sisters were too young to really know what was happening. Neighbors were being picked up by Germans and being sent to Auschwitz. At this time, 1941, the Rome area was made into a ghetto, and Jews were picked up and sent to Treblinka, another death camp. Living in the ghetto was not so bad for Victor. His father made shoes and traded with local Polish farmers for food. Sanitation was not good, because there were no bathrooms in the house. The Germans came and took all the people they felt could cause trouble for them and sent them to Auschwitz. One day, the women and children were removed from the ghetto, including my mother, my sister, my grandmother, and my aunts. They were lined up and put on trains to Treblinka. After about 2 weeks, the men were lined up. My father and brother had no papers to show that they worked for the German factory where I did, and we were separated. sanitary conditions were not good here either. The showers were outside in the cold. They were sprinkler lights. Victor never found what the tunnels were for, but he worked from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. During all of 1944, the prisoners who could not work were shot. In 1945, actually May 5th of 1945, the American soldiers came in and fed them. He was then sent to Modena, Italy, and Kona, Italy, to a displaced person camp. All got food. Victor met a cousin who escaped from a train that was going to Treblinka and told him his parents, sister, brother, and grandparents, aunt, and uncle were killed. He wrote to his family in America who sent him money and papers to come to America. Many of the displaced people went to Israel, even some friends from Marvin. He was in northern Italy about 4 years, where he did learn to speak and read Italian. In that time, he worked and saved enough money sent by relatives to pay for passage a transport ship to America. The ship's name was General Bella. It took 10 to 11 days when he was seasick, and so were many others, amongst the 5,000 that were sick but happy to be going to America. He landed on 14th Street in New York City. His family was waiting at the dock to greet him. Victor lived with his father, sister, stepbrother, and his wife and son. He could speak very little English. The day he arrived was Sunday, and he went to work at his uncle's shoe factory on Thursday, where he stayed for 33 years. He went to learn English at night school on Fordham Road in the Bronx. He then married Shirley in June of 1952, and had 2 daughters.